The power was never given to presidents to begin war. This certainly looks like a massive armada, a massive amount of military force. And if bombs begin dropping on Venezuela, or there's an invasion, or essentially a blockade, which is an act of war, there really should be a vote by Congress. But you can't simply say, oh, we designate these people to be terrorists. Realize that the boats that are being blown up, about 1 in 4 boats that are interdicted by the Coast Guard don't have any drugs on them. So there's a 25% error rate, and there is no evidence these people are armed. I think this is a horrendous thing and should stop. I think it's illegal and immoral.
Do you include the embargo, not the embargo, with the oil tankers, the blockade? You opposed to the blockade as well?
Well, our government says they're just not allowed to sell their oil, so it's illegal according to our laws, but not illegal according to their laws. So I don't like it. I think it's a provocation, and I think it's a prelude to war. I think war should be something we do in self-defense when we have to go to war, when we were attacked on 9/11, when we were attacked in World War II. But for the most part, these wars of choice or wars of offense, I don't think are a good idea. I mean, I'm not for sending the kids I know in the military, I'm not for sending them down there to die for oil.
Previous presidents told us to go to war over WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, that did not exist. Now it's the same playbook, except we're told that drugs are the WMDs. If it were about drugs, we'd bomb Mexico or China or Colombia, and the president would not have pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez. This is about oil and regime change. And when it comes to regime change, we've already been down this road with Venezuela with nothing to show for it. In 2019, we recognized Juan Guaido. We seized their embassy here in D.C. We were told that regime change was imminent. Years later, Maduro remains in power. Today, we're told to place our hopes in other exiled figures. Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado. I wish them well, I do. But Congress should not express moral sympathy in the form of a blank check for military escalation and American lives. And let's take a moment to acknowledge the contradiction at the heart of this policy. This administration tells us that the Maduro regime is made up of narco-terrorists, and by escalating toward war, we would predictably create countless refugees. At the same time, this administration has moved to end temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans and deports them back to the very regime it condemns. So which is it? Are we prepared to receive swarms of the 25 million Venezuelans who will likely become refugees and billions in American treasure that will be used to destroy and inevitably rebuild that nation? Do we want a miniature Afghanistan in the Western Hemisphere?
When two of the worst politicians in the country are on the right side of an issue, you know things have almost reached their breaking point. Despite both of their highly questionable takes on previous U.S. interventions in foreign nations, even they are savvy enough to recognize what's really going on, just like these two propagandists.
I think the reason we're getting involved in Venezuela largely is because Trump is like, the economy's not doing too well, let's go get some oil, baby. I don't think that's the sole reason. Because obviously Venezuela's been a problem for a long time. They could have invaded a long time ago.
I still just don't buy at all that this has really much to do with drugs. I just don't. I think there's another issue here. It's something about Maduro. It's something about people. It's something about communism and Rubio. It's something in that vein, because if it was about drugs, he'd be in Mexico right now, right?
While we agree on virtually nothing with these four clowns, and you shouldn't either, it's worth noting that their break from Trump on this particular issue shows he doesn't have as firm a grip on his party and allies in the media as he did in the past. And it's largely due to his administration and him not caring less about who knows what their true ambitions are in Venezuela and Latin America in general.
Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it. Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
You know who stands to benefit the most if we end up going to war with Venezuela? The oil companies, the mining companies, and their owners and shareholders. Yeah, not great for the people, not great for everyday citizens. But when I think about how Trump's base would react if he does start a war, because there's been a noticeable shift in different demographics, disliking what Trump has done during the presidency compared to or opposed to all the support he had leading up to the presidency or leading up to the election, I think you might have some people who are angered by it because what is it doing for their lives, right? How is it helping everyday Americans, helping his base? Now, I do think some of them are still so ignorant and have so much bigotry in their hearts that they will applaud it and they will champion it. But I don't think it's as simple as saying, oh yeah, all of Trump's base is going to react well to this. I don't think we're in that phase anymore, or in that time period anymore, as you've seen the perception of Trump really change within his base. We're striking targets on Venezuelan land. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The answer is that this is not about drugs. This is about regime change. And we also have the White House Chief of Staff on record saying that this is about regime change. It has nothing to do with drugs. I rise today in strong support of this resolution. I am proud to co-lead Ranking Member Meeks' effort and urge all of my colleagues to join us today in reasserting this body's constitutional authority on matters of war and peace. Because let's be perfectly clear, only Congress has the power to declare war. The Trump administration's military escalation in the Caribbean is not only reckless, it is blatantly illegal. We cannot allow this kind of dangerous overreach to go unchecked. Trump, a president who touts himself as a global peacemaker, has appointed himself as judge, jury, and executioner in the Western Hemisphere. This brutal military campaign, which has killed more than 90 people, further threatens a region that has already been destabilized by decades of U.S. intervention. And it risks driving us into further war in Venezuela. The American people across the political spectrum have been clear that they do not want to fight and fund another war. With this vote, every member of Congress has the chance to show the American people where they stand. Will they enable Trump's illegal lawmaking, or will they stand on the side of the Constitution? Stand on the side of the Constitution and put an end to this unauthorized use of military force. I urge all of my colleagues to uphold the separation of powers and pass this resolution.
Listen, criticizing and denouncing American imperialism and the sheer destruction our government and corporations have funded around the world go hand in hand with fighting for domestic issues, and should be something that all progressives should do, right? Not just some, not a little bit, but all progressives should do if we want to get anywhere, right? If we want to make our voices heard and let the administration know they're not the consensus. They are not the majority. Like, obviously they have the power to do a lot of things, but they don't speak for the American people when we talk about what's really important and fighting for these domestic issues that are really crucial for the livelihood of people in America. Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.